Hey everybody, what you are looking at is the remnants of about 8-ish yards of wood chips that was dropped off yesterday by one of the roadside crews that I had handed one of our cards to. So quick note, put yourself out there, put out the energy that you're hoping to get back. Be polite, be enthusiastic, be understanding, take no for an answer if that's the answer, but put yourself out there. Ask for wood chips. It's totally worth it. Haha. All of this was moved in about 3 hours by hand with the pitchfork you see and a wheelbarrow. And that's about it. So, in a moment, I'm going to show you what we have done with these wood chips and what the plan is moving forward. Stick around. Alright, so here we have one of the beds in the duck yard. If you have seen some of our earlier videos, you probably remember this as the pile of dirt that we built after excavating the duck pond here, which is very dry. We've had almost no rain this April, so we're still waiting on that to fully materialize. However, this had become kind of a jungle of that Asiatic bittersweet that I had posted up about a few days ago. We did our best. We pulled a whole bunch of it. We cut off things. We split the roots, and then we buried it. There's probably about a foot of wood chips on top of everything at the moment. Those of you who are astute will notice that there is a very noticeable slope and then considerably less wood chip cover on this section here. This is actually where we have a very vibrant rhubarb patch that comes in every year, so I'd prefer not to block those out if at all possible. However, we have gone about 8 inches deep around the base of this bed, and we have filled in over top of it. I've taken time and really pushed in, jumped around on this, trying to tamp everything down and get it nicely compacted so that when it does eventually rain, we get a good moisture penetration and it'll eventually lose less water from the sun beating down on it and just the wind pulling up moisture as it goes. So this shouldn't just be all wood chip though. You can see some of our brambly blackberries that come up. Those guys are volunteers, and I don't mind them because it'll be some forage for the ducks eventually. However, we have down here this little stick in the dirt is actually a water sprout from one of our apple trees. It had sprouted from the rootstock itself and actually had a good amount of feeder roots attached to it when I went to find the base of it. So we decided to plant it into this hill. We gave it a little bit of compost underneath and then some fresh soil, buried it all in. I'll give this guy as much time as he needs. We have several varieties of apples on our property. Our neighbor has about 6 others that we don't have. So scion wood will not be a problem when I do eventually decide to graft this thing. If my notes are to be believed to be accurate, I believe this is an M11 rootstock, which offers us some pathogen resistance. So it's nice. Don't just trim off your water sprouts. Check and see if you've got some roots to them. See if you can use them for the basis of more fruit trees. Because why not? That's what we do here, right? Anyway, so one tree, apple. Where we are facing is pretty much due north. Sun comes up over there, comes overhead, so we're facing about northish. But the big access for the sun comes up over these trees. Hi there, sun. So instead of planting south to north or east to west, because we are on a west-facing slope on our property, tend to plant north-south, but kind of skewed. So just to the southwest of that apple right there, that's him, boop, we are going to place another tree. You can see I can go quite far in. This is actually several inches deep. And the reason we're doing that is because we are going to add into this hole some waste hay, rabbit poop, and rabbit pee. And then a whole bunch of fresh soil. This is gathered from that dirt mound out back. You can see that there are some root fragments, little bits, pine needles, a couple of detritus, maybe some broken down leaves bit in there, pieces of wood. Small stones are fine. I don't care too much about that. I really just want something that the roots of this tree we're going to put in there will be able to grab onto and provide harborage and safe space for all of the microbiome that we're trying to foster here. So just a little look at the texture of the soil for you. That's what we're going to be adding. I'll come back to you guys in just a minute when we've done some of the work. Alright, so we have our pad of soil. This is about a foot deep or so at this point. Has been tamped down a bit to knock out any air pockets that may have been caused by mulch mixing in at the bottom. Underneath the foot of soil or so is the 4 to 6 inches of fresh hay and rabbit manure mixed in. And then underneath that is several feet of wood chip. And then trash dirt again underneath that. And we have our little tree here. Bare root chestnut. We're going to be putting it in here, which again is kind of south and west from the apple tree. The chestnut will take many, many more years before it becomes productive and kind of shades out part of this, which will provide a little bit of dappled shade to these guys, which will give them sort of the woodland edge area and behaviors that they tend to thrive in. We may have a little bit less fruit production from the shade, but their roots and their behavior will be more in line with a natural succession, and I'm fine with that. So we're going to take this bare root tree and we're going to plant it pretty gently, and we'll get this squared away. So I spread some of the bare root out in the whole small depression that I've made. You can see that I have several of these leading roots around the main stem. They're still exposed, so we're going to use the last of this dirt and just kind of firm in right where those roots are. And we'll press to make sure that they are making good contact with all of the surrounding soil, that we're knocking out any air pockets, that we are making sure that the wicking effect is able to be performed by the soil when it does rain. So there you have it. That is a bare root chestnut planted. And I apologize in advance for the shaky cam. But you can see here where the knuckle of the tree is, where that root flare will eventually be. We are leaving that exposed. This little guy will get covered just a little bit. This ensures decent drainage. We're going to bring a little bit more of the wood chip back over this to hold everything in place, and this will be set to go. So catch you in a minute. So here it is, practically the finished product, final product. It's almost difficult to make out on camera where the intentional tree is. That's it right there. Boop. And then this one right here. So these two will get all of the love and attention in the coming weeks. We're hoping for some rain so that they get some nice nitrogenated water. It's also got tons of other micronutrients in the rain, so rainwater is better than tap water for sure. These are both going to get soaked in with some collected rainwater that we have in barrels out front. And I'm going to call this project ready to wait for more plants to show up. So when we do have some more to put in here, definitely make an update, show you how things are progressing in this space. Till then, hope you're all well. Hope the sun is shining on your gardens, and we appreciate your views. See you soon.